Welcome back to another installment of a Whirlwind of Weezer. Tonight we will be talking about the White Album. An album I am very, very fond of. I like it quite a bit more than Everything Will Be Alright in the End, which was definitely a step in the right direction, but I feel like the White Album really solidified this mix of old and new that became their new direction. And we can thank producer Jake Sinclair, a Weezer fan himself, for encouraging Rivers in particular to not try to go in his extreme new direction, which would be showcased a little bit later on Pacific Daydream, and singles there. And but Jake wanted them to kind of go back in time a little bit, like green Maladroit era, which they did. And then ultimately they settled on this beach theme, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how they do that, but I need to backtrack a second. So Jake Sinclair wanted that classic sound, or Rivers pushed for this new sound, and so Jake got in contact with Weezer because Jake Sinclair was the engineer under Butch Walker on the Ratitude album. So he engineered that and was a fan, and was like, when Weezer were looking for another producer for their untitled 2015-2016 album, he sort of volunteered. And Rivers sent him a link to a Dropbox of over 250 demos for him to sort through. And then through that Dropbox massive folder, Jake Sinclair pulled out California Kids, which was an English reworking of the song California by Scott and Rivers. It was a Japanese language album. I think that was released in 2013 or 2014, something like that. So California Kids, with its beachy sound, its whole relaxing beach vibe there, with retaining really the energy of the Green Album, in my opinion. And that heralded the directions, and Jake Sinclair reiterated, we'll push a little bit of this new sound, and you'll hear that in Thank God for Girls. And I guess what's the name of that song now? Thank God for... Jacked Up, and the remix, of course, the remix with Fritz and the Tantrums, or the heck they're called. I don't really care for that remix. I definitely skip it. I definitely take it off of my playlist so I don't have to go skip it. On the deluxe edition, obviously. So they pushed for that beach theme, which helped Rivers focus the song selection and any songs that would be kind of reworked into a beach theme. But ultimately it wasn't exclusive, but I guess you could say songs like Do You Want to Get High absolutely fit the beach vibe, because what do people do when they go to the beach? It's like a vacation time, and you're going to get fucked up with your friends, right? So they did that, and I feel like because of that sort of self-limitation there, it yielded an insane quality. If Everything Will Be Alright in the End was a step in the right direction, this is building the house on that new property right there, It's just didn't get too I guess on Everything Will Be Alright in the End, they kind of had this story. Here there wasn't some story to bog it down I feel like they experienced way back when songs from Black Hole morphed into Pinkerton. It's like the story may have helped the productivity, but then it made making everything fit together way more complicated than it needed to be. So just for pulling back a little bit and just having a more general theme, I feel like is the ideal focusing element there. Because I don't really like albums that aren't consistent. Like, Red was fairly consistent, I guess, for the most part, whereas like Ratitude and Hurley most certainly were not. Like Death to False Metal, I can say, flows better, but I think Hurley's issue is because like it starts out, I guess like the first 4 or 5 songs flow pretty well, but then it just kind of gets into really mediocre quality until we get a couple better songs towards the very end of it. But the White Album never slags at all. So alright, we're in early mid 2015 at this point, if I'd never specified the date. And then in late summer 2015 we get Thank God for Girls, which was then relatively promptly released on October 26th of 2015. And the title, possibly inspiration, possibly hint towards when Rivers started writing the song, lies in a tweet that Rivers sent out in 2010. So we released on October 26th, and Alex Goose provided additional production on Thank God for Girls. But I couldn't really tell you anything too specific of what he did, although it's kind of like the most produced track on there, so it's probably extra drum stuff and synth sounds and samples in there. In late summer 2015, Do You Want to Get High had to have been recorded, which started out as a verse chorus in 2014. The bridge was written in 2015, and it's possible that it also originated as a Summer Songs of 2000 track, also entitled Do You Want to Get High, but we haven't really gotten solid confirmation of that. And if it did, it was basically rewritten from whatever was written back then. At least that's what Jake Sinclair said while posting on the All Things Weezer forum under the username WannaBeezer, where he would comment on like the confusion over the release of Thank God for Girls single, which was definitely a very odd single to start with. It's not indicative at all of the sound of the album. It's definitely the biggest like out there piece on the album, but I enjoy the song. I will admit that I didn't enjoy it at first. I was in the confused party there, but over time I've come to really, really enjoy it. It's got such dense lyrics. Like, wow. Good job, Rivers. Okay, so like Do You Want to Get High was released on November 3rd, 2015, and the fan response to that was just of sheer delight. And then also during like his forum posting period in like late 2015 here, he noted that there was no Sean Everett involvement on the White Album, and he had been involved in like aspects of Everything Will Be Alright in the End, and certainly he produced Hurley and arranged and produced some tracks off of Death to False Metal, and he produced the one single in between the end of Everything Will Be Alright in the End and the White Album, like so right before Thank God for Girls, was Everybody Needs Salvation, which is a very good song. A song I very much enjoy. But again, one of the ones that was kind of a sleeper. Had to grow on me a little bit. Alright, so the next single was King of the World. Could have been recorded in the fall. I don't really know the recording dates very well for this album, unfortunately. But it was released January 15th, 2016, and that that solidified that my hype train was going full steam at this point, because like I'd grown to accept Thank God for Girls and learned to enjoy it at this point. Do You Want to Get High just rocked me from like the first listen, and then King of the World was in the same boat. It's like I just very much dug it. And it was inspired. It was about Kyoko Ito, Rivers' wife's childhood experiences, and they even, like, her parents even approved the lyrics. He ran it by them before committing it to tape. Then in early 2016, again, just guessing because they weren't released as singles and the album was still being worked on, we got Girl, We Got a Good Thing, Prom Night, Summer Lane and Drunk Dory, Wind in Our Sails, LA Girls, Jacked Up, and Endless Bummer. Later on, after the album proper was released, we get in June 2016, the I Love the USA single is released. And then on October 7th of 2016, we got Fake Smiles and Nervous Laughter and Friend of a Friend, which would be added on to the deluxe edition of the White Album. Did I ever say the release date? The release date for the White Album was April 1st, 2016. So I Love the USA was recorded a couple months after that and released pretty quickly. And perhaps Fake Smiles and Nervous Laughter and Friend of a Friend were done in that session, but I don't know. There was also one more final session with Jake Sinclair for The Last Days of Summer, which I think I've only listened to once. I definitely meant to hit that up before doing this episode, but I'll come back to it and make a note of it on like the producer reprise episode that I intend to do later. Okay, and like the studios used for this was like the familiar Village from... It looks like there was a note there, but I don't understand the note. So it looks like they used the Village and Infrasonic Sound, The Lair, Studio X, and United Recording during this whole experience here. Looks like, but that might also include Pacific Daydream and like these singles. So I don't know. Oh man. Let's see if I can look that up real fast. I'll come back to it in a moment and see if I can. Because I want to step back from the recording of the White Album. Mostly nailed that. And let's cover the tours both before and after. So, let's see. I guess we start out with the Everything Will Be Alright in the End tour, which I sort of talked about on its episode. Which ran from October 25th until December 2014. December 17th, 2014, sorry. And on this tour, would start out with an acoustic set. You Gave Your Love to Me Softly, Why Bother, King, El Scarcho, The Other Way, The Good Life, Island in the Sun, Buddy Holly, and then the encore, which would change each night, with Surf Wax America 2 nights, then Tired of Sex 1 night, No Other One night, In the Garage another night, Get You the next night, and The Greatest Man That Ever Lived for the last 2 nights. And like on the proper acoustic set, there was a rotating slot in between Island in the Sun and Buddy Holly, which started as Suzanne and then it went to No One Else. There was Some I, If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To, Across the Sea, and No Other One. And to go back just briefly back to where the White Album was recorded, it was recorded at Infrasonic Sound, The Lair, Studio X, United Recording, and The Village. Yeah, it was recorded at all of them. Alright, so back in time to the 2015 tour, which was kind of fun. It looked like a pretty fun tour. It ran from January 17th until December 12th, obviously, of 2015. And the set would mostly consist of My Name is Jonas, Hash Pipe, Perfect Situation, Da Vinci, Island in the Sun, Beverly Hills, Dope Nose, Say It Ain't So, Back to the Shack, If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To, Pork and Beans, Undone, Eulogy for a Rock Band, Keep Fishin', El Scorcho, Go Away, Surf Wax, Pink Triangle, Troublemaker, Tired of Sex, The Good Life. And later on they started incorporating Memories into the main set, and I Want You To would move over into the encore section where Memories would find itself in the beginning along with Buddy Holly, and towards the end of the tour Only in Dreams would mainly be the encore paired with If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To. Buddy Holly would occasionally go back to the main set. Only in Dreams never did, though. That was always an encore piece. Then the next tour would be the White Album Tour, starting right before the release of the White Album on April 1st, 2016. Right? They had the first show on March 30th, and I will name off its set list in its entirety, because most of the set lists following were based upon that. So, on March 30th, they played California Kids, Jonas, Hash Pipe, Back to the Shack, LA Girls, El Scorcho, The British Are Coming, Pork and Beans, Do You Want to Get High, Cleopatra, Wasteland, Thank God for Girls, Say It Ain't So, Good Life, You Gave Your Love to Me Softly, King of the World, Island in the Sun, Undone, Beverly Hills, and Buddy Holly. And then later on throughout the tour that ran till April 25th, they would incorporate If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To, and Troublemaker. And this tour hit various, obviously it wasn't that long, but various spots in the US and Europe, and then they returned to the US for a brief solo headlining tour from April 29th, well, just 2 dates, April 29th and May 14th. And then on June 10th of 2016, they embarked on a tour with Panic at the Disco. And then it would be followed up by an Asia tour from August 13th to 21st, and then another small-ish US tour from September 2nd until December 11th. And this section of the tour, they would play variations of California Kids, Hash Pipe, My Name is Jonas, LA Girls, Pork and Beans, Perfect Situation, If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To, Thank God for Girls, Beverly Hills, a medley consisting of Dope Nose, Back to the Shack, Keep Fishin', The Good Life, and Surf Wax America, into Tired of Sex, and then Undone, King of the World into Only in Dreams, Say It Ain't So, and then an encore of El Scorcho and Buddy Holly. Beginning on the June 28th show, Jacked Up would be played in place of LA Girls, and then beginning on the July 16th show, I Love the USA would take the slot of Jacked Up. And they did just a 2017 tour from April 9th until October 7th. Just more of the same, really very similar format to the White Album Tour, except in the place of the LA Girls slot that went to Jacked Up and then I Love the USA, it's now Feels Like Summer. Until September 9th, where Mexican Fender from Pacific Daydream takes its spot. And they would also play covers of Hey Ya and I Took a Pill in Ibiza. And eventually Feels Like Summer would just kind of work its way into the normal set instead of being outright replaced. And then they would play an encore of Buddy Holly, El Scorcho, and Summer Elaine and Drunk Dory, which is like my favorite song off of the White Album. It's just so fun. It kind of makes me think of, it kind of brings me back to the Blue Album a little bit. It's the party atmosphere type thing, but a little jollier than the Blue Album. It's a little green, I guess. A little Ratitude in there. Not Ratitude, I didn't mean Ratitude, I mean Red. Then, this is kind of getting into more Pacific Daydream territory, and I could wait, but whatever. I'm already on a roll here. So they did a Feels Like Summer tour in Europe in 2017 from October 15th until October 28th, which is similar to the 2017 tour. But they would also play songs like Happy Hour, The World Has Turned and Left Me Here, In the Garage, Weekend Woman, A Ballad for a Fallen Soldier, Memories, and Mexican Fender. Mexican Fender is an alright song. I like Happy Hour. I quite like Weekend Woman. Then, they did a special show. A radio appearance. On December 2nd, 2016. Is that right? I feel like that was supposed to have said 2017. Well, they played, and it was for Alt 92.9's Songs and Stories. They played California Kids, King of the World, I Love the USA, Island in the Sun, El Scorcho, Slave, Pork and Beans, Jacked Up, Say It Ain't So, and Buddy Holly. I mean, I guess I might as well go into Pacific Daydream on this one, because there's really nothing too special. There's really not a whole lot I have to talk about for that. And we really covered the touring there. So, yeah. Let's just talk about that some. But first, there was... Alright, so we got that Last Days of Summer recorded on December 22nd, 2016. Right? And then they go into the studio again at some point. I guess probably February, January, something like that. At the Village and the Lair. What? Play Deep? Like 3 different studios. That doesn't make sense. But, okay, so they recorded Feels Like Summer with Johnny Colfer and J.R. Rodham. And that single was released on March 16th, 2017. Absolutely hated it at first. I've grown to like it, even the embellishing production there. But the acoustic version sold it for me a little bit more, because I was listening to the song proper. And then, I don't know, I like all versions of it now, but it's not the strongest. For me, the strongest ones are really like Weekend Woman, which started out as Burning Sun from the Summer Songs 2000. And I quite like QB Blitz, which I don't think I've mentioned yet. And Happy Hour is right. I mean, Beach Boys is kind of fun. It gets stuck in my head a lot. It really annoyed me at first, though. That didn't help that I had a friend who came up to me with that song and was like, he's a big fan of the Beach Boys, and that's part of why he got into Weezer. But then after listening to that song, he was I don't know, it was weird. He wasn't very much into the White Album like I was. He was kind of like, Everything Will Be Alright in the End is like the last masterpiece they'll ever put out, and I was like, it's not really a masterpiece, but okay. He may not have said masterpiece, but basically the last good Weezer album in his opinion. And I would definitely hype up the White Album to him, and I'd see him liking it but not really wanting to stay. But then by the time he heard Beach Boys, he was like, I'm just done. I'm hoping that he'll come back around. But, I mean, he's still a fan of the classics, so it's alright. Alright, so now they go into Ruby Red Productions in Santa Monica, some unspecified time in 2017, probably after It Feels Like Summer was released, but maybe not, I don't know. Maybe that's to cover up the news of them being back in the studio. With Butch Walker, who they had previously worked with, and also has a link to the producer Jake Sinclair of the White Album, since Jake Sinclair worked under him while Butch Walker was producing Raditude, or his section of Raditude. Yeah, so they begin that in 2017, and let's see, so Mexican Fender was released on August 17th of 2017, and then Beach Boys would be released on September 14th, 2017, Weekend Woman on October 5th, Happy Hour on October 18th, and Pacific Daydream in full on October 27th, 2017. And really, we had heard most of the good stuff by this point. Sweet Mary's not bad, Get Right's not bad, but I don't really care at all for Lament a Screw Job or Randy Friend of Diane's. And a lot of the time, my play might start at the Beach Boys and end after QB Blitz, which just sucks, but the more and more I listen through it, the more and more muted I am to it. It's cool. The stuff we've heard from the Black Album so far gives me serious hope, and I'm glad that Rivers didn't rush into it and instead did Pacific Daydream, because he was originally going to do the Black Album right after the White Album. He already had a folder of a Dropbox of them starting to pile up, and was working on that. But then he got inspired to do all this more beach-ish themed music, so I'm glad he just got all that out of the way first. And we got, obviously, I can't praise Weekend Woman enough of how that resurrected an old Green Album era song, and I love seeing those resurrected. And who knows, it's possible that there's some stuff that we haven't caught yet, like released songs that began life as just songs that we weren't really familiar with, or the title had changed so radically and we haven't really heard a demo version of the original title version of it. So it's possible that there's plenty of stuff that Rivers did write or had started working on back in the early 2000s, or possibly earlier, that has been reworked into songs we now know and enjoy. But hopefully the trend keeps up, because there's other great songs like Hot Tub I'd love to hear them try and do again. I feel like the Black Album could be a perfect fit for that. There's other good songs like Sandwiches Time probably wouldn't fit, but I'd love to see them do that again if they go back to any more of the maladroit and make-believe, kind of desert-sounding, sunshiny guitar parts there. Alright, so then, obviously they're touring and stuff, and one last bit would be the two Toto covers, which were produced by Patrick Wilson at some point, probably not too long before they were mixed down and released. So Rosanna was released May 24th, 2018, and Africa was released May 29th, 2018. And that's all we had until Can't Knock the Hustle came out. I guess that was last October. And I guess until next time, I'll figure something else to do before the Black Album gets released this March, I want to say. And I got mine pre-ordered. And I hope it's March and not April, but I have it pre-ordered on vinyl. And I can't wait. I've been building my vinyl collection up. I recently got maladroit and make believe in. I need to flesh out the rest. But until next time, Weezer on.